What's up, YouTube? So it's been a minute since I recorded anything, and as you can see, I have been driving the shit out of my Mustang here. Most recently I drove an NRA spring break shootout, where this whole accident happened, as you can see here.
A little pressure. See if we have any new drip fans. Got 1, 2, 3. Anybody can hear me? New drip fans? New drip fans? No. Interesting. So, all right.
And then I took a weekend break, and then the next weekend after that, I started driving OSW Spring Break Bash, where that incident happened. So it's been an eventful couple of weekends, and I've also finished putting the new angle kit on and doing a bunch of other work to the car. So I figured I would kind of film just a catch-up video and start to be doing more YouTube. I want to record more videos and actually post a lot more than I actually have been. I've got most of the angle kit video ready to go, and another video with the trailer getting ready to be edited once I finish a couple things on that. But I actually have another event this upcoming weekend, not this weekend, but the weekend after, that I gotta get the car ready for, because it took a beating at a Spring Break Bash and shootout and a couple other things. And I wanted to kind of walk you through this accident that happened here. That was not wholly my fault, but partially, for sure. I'm just gonna go ahead and get into it with that. Basically, real guy, real nice guy. His name is like Hoysse, it's hard for me to pronounce. Hosse, HLE Racing is his Insta. I'll share it. Basically, what happened was the very beginning car, sideways S197, he had a bit of an issue on initiation, and I was chasing him, and I had been throwing down all weekend. I actually got this beautiful little scuff mark on the rear of the bumper. Chef's kiss tapping the wall. It was beautiful. I was entering so deep and so sideways and getting after it. Probably the best I've ever driven. Up until this, of course. Basically, so he had an issue, so I went around him, and then I was stuck playing catch-up. Well, the worst thing you can do is try and play catch-up, I've learned. I was playing catch-up, coming around the Manji, ready to transition back to go back to the edge of the pad. I checked off to make sure they were good, and they were. And then I throw it back to the edge of the pad, and when I throw it back to the edge of the pad, I am looking at the grass to the side to make sure I don't run off the track, because that's how deep I was getting with stings. I'm at the edge of the track, I plant my foot again, and I look back over to see that they're good. And there's about a half second there where, had I realized they were spinning, HLE was spinning, I would have caught it, and I could have probably gotten at least slowed down so the impact wasn't at least as hard. But because they had already started to make the 90-degree turn, and I was at the edge of the pad, unfortunately, Jordan, and that's Jordan, they had already started to make the 90-degree turn. Jordan was the right rear quarter, and that's when he started to spin. And of course, because I was at the edge of the pad, there was about a half-second gap there where I couldn't really tell what was happening. And of course, I was already committed, and about a half second later, when I basically passed the point of no return, because if I had noticed or tell, and I also wasn't focusing quite as much as I probably should have been. I was still a little focused on the line and catching up, and then, doing 6 things at once, then it's a split second. But basically, because I didn't see it, I could have gotten on the brakes, probably at least got slowed down, or enough to get out, pull out of the way. But because I was flat-footed sideways for a half second longer, before I finally saw that he was starting to spin, because of course, like I said, Jordan's car and the angle I was relative to them was obscuring it for me. Not completely blocking it up, but obscuring it, making it more difficult to see. I kind of had an oh shit moment and went, oh shit, he's spinning, oh god. So my first instinct was to, obviously get out of the gas, because I'm already cooking at this point. Full clutch, full brake, and I did that for maybe quarter of a second, half a second before I realized, I'm going too fast, I'm gonna pancake Jordan. Basically, the angle I was coming in, I would have pancaked right into the side of the white car, Jordan. And of course, a couple weeks before at my private day that I hosted, that I also didn't film any, of course, he had already gotten smashed. And I was like, oh, don't hit him, don't hit him. I don't want to smash into him with my door this hard going this fast. So I instinctively didn't even think about it. I clutched back in, took my foot off the brake, hit the gas, and dropped the clutch. Of course, the car was still sped up RPM-wise, so I really didn't have to hit the gas very much. And instead of sideswiping him, it shot forwards. And I can actually see in the video where I barely clipped his bumper instead. But unfortunately, HLE did what he's supposed to do, where he tried to spin out the way, which is what proper etiquette is. And he ended up right where I would have shot by. And had it, you know, gone any differently, maybe if he spun out but didn't keep his foot on the gas and didn't do what he's supposed to do, I would have shot by and probably went in the dirt. But like I said, he did what you're taught to do, what you're supposed to do, which is if you're spinning out, spin out of the way, and he was doing that, and I was just, you know, late on the gun. And the camera angle doesn't do it justice. It's a really poor camera angle, but so it's gonna look more like I had more time to stop than I did. And I did have, like I said, I did have time to stop. I just couldn't see it. And you know, it's no one's fault. Accidents happen. Like I said, I could have caught it. I feel really bad for him because all my car sustained was a crushed door and a bent roll bar and fucked up B-pillar, as you can see here, which sucks, but it is what it is. His car was totaled. He measured out the strut towers. It got pushed about 6 inches. The front bumper got pushed over about 13 inches. A truly crazy amount. So he's currently swapping all his stuff into a shell with a different engine and stuff. I, on the other hand, am going to try and make this work. I've become friends over the past weekend at Spring Bash with a guy that has a frame machine. He actually walked up to me and was like, hey, I think I can get that pulled out. And I was like, oh, really now? Well, you and me have become friends, and let's see if we can get this pulled out. So he's a little busy, but once he's not busy, we're going to go ahead and try and pull the B-pillar out. So, but I'm going to go ahead and take a minute here to show you just a little more in depth about how bad things got messed up. As you can see, it ripped the actual B-pillar around this corner support. Luckily, it didn't actually mess the corner support up. I actually had to pull the door off of it because it was conjammed. If I try and close the door, this is a different door, by the way. I don't know if you can tell by the silver. If I close it all the way, you can see just how badly the latch doesn't meet the door. It's pretty crushed in. And then, of course, at Spring Bash, a buddy of mine, Hoysse, with a white Miata, 97 Miata, hit me right here again, just to add insult to injury, but it was already kind of messed up anyway, so who cares? He really only tapped me. But it's interesting because there's actually a shit ton of Bondo under here. I don't know if you can tell right there. Like, just an absolute large amount of Bondo. So I'm assuming this car's been in an accident here before. And then, of course, I didn't realize I couldn't get this out till the night before Spring Bash, so I got the door on and said, fuck it. Went to stop at Tractor Supply, and while I was actually in line to get in to drive, I went ahead and put my little gate latch I got from Tractor Supply on this door. I'm not gonna save this door. This door is a convertible door that was sat outside and doesn't fully work right, but for now it works. And this is the pin off my trailer for the ramps. But it worked. It passed tech. It held the door shut. Like I said, I still have the door bars, although they are severely bent. I can show you the other side for reference. So that's how it's supposed to look. Straight with the rocker panel. Come over here. You can see just how much bow is in it. It's pretty smashed. And then, of course, the rocker actually got more smashed right here. I think when the door got hit, and I'll show you, the door got hit, his bash bar, because he didn't have a bumper on, his bash bar, which is the same bash bar I have, was perfectly at this level of the door bar. Without this door bar, I am in the hospital. Like, would be severely injured. This was over here with the edge of that line before. It would have crushed it'd probably broken my pelvis, or at least my hip. It would have been not a fun time. But instead, it was just like I went over a fucking speed bump, which was insane because I no whiplash, no nothing. It's just like a speed bump, just a boom boom. It was interesting, man. This sucks. I contemplated getting a new shell and transferring all this over, but I just did all of this and spent a lot of money doing this, and of course this is also my first car, so I'm gonna try, like, legitimately my first car. I drove it all through high school, so yeah, this is turning into more of a damage report, but it's pretty banged up. Now I can always get to my buddy Andrew, Mustang Lifestyle. You can see his sticker right there. I can always try and cut this B-pillar out, put a new one in, and try and fix the rocker, but we'll see. If I can get this pulled out to where it latches nicely, I'll just throw an over on it and call it a day. I need to do overs anyways. And then of course, I'll show you back here where, speak of the devil, here's that beautiful kiss on the wall. Just an ever so slight scuff with hints of green. You can see in there from the wall. I was money entries, like absolute money. But is what it is. And then of course the last day, Sunday, Spring Break Bash, of which I was driving terribly all weekend, just making mistake after mistake. I was in my head, so it was kind of weird. So like at Shootout, which was the event before where the door happened, after that happened, I said fuck it, damage is done, door staying shut, let's keep driving. And I drove it the rest of the day like that, and it still felt great. And then it was after that where it kind of set in on me, like, that could have been really bad, this really sucks, like, it's worse than I thought it was. And I kind of got in my own head, and then all of Spring Break Bash, I'd get in my head and make a mistake, and then I'd finally get correct for that mistake, and either make another mistake happen, or something else would happen that would throw me off. And then my hydro wasn't, I couldn't get my hydro heated up because I have to drag it to get it hot, to get it to bite, with the Hawk pads at least, and any other pad I've used. And then of course, when you're sitting in grid, it cools back off, so it's like basically like I didn't have a hydro. And that kind of contributed. On the last day, Sunday, I took a break for a little while, came back on the track on these Kendas that are grippy as hell still, and I went to throw it sideways and it didn't go, and I forgot, I didn't forget, but I didn't, you see, Pedro said he did this, and he did. It crushed his door pretty good. Yeah, basically I came in, I tried to throw it sideways, it gripped back up and went straight. Well, let me rephrase that. What would happen is I get first gear, get kind of sideways, second gear sideways, and then into the first sweeper, but it started to grip up and straighten out on me. So I clutched in the handbrake, it didn't work. I pulled the handbrake again and it didn't work again. And now I was too deep going too straight, and I basically hit the foot brake and locked them up, went straight into the wall right in front of two other people, and including Pedro's Blue Miata, where we busted off the bumper. So luckily this impact felt a lot worse than it was. It maybe bent this side of the bash bar down a little bit, but bash bar did this job, took the entirety of the impact. These are just, haven't got around to cutting them off, so it's not a big deal. So I just need to get a new rear bumper and cut it. No biggie. We're good to go. I actually strapped the car down by this, so it's still solid. But yeah, that's that damage. It was a fun event though. Let's go take a look at the door and the bumper where it's messed up. Here is the actual door and rest of my bumper. You can see it left this beautiful door bar imprint right where it hit, and like it fully pulled the inner skin off and bent the outer skin, knocked the mirror off. You can see everything in here is just absolutely mangled. I had to like jam the latch to get it to open right here. The door support stayed relatively straight at least, but everything else is knackered. It's just crazy. Had that been any higher, it would have gone over my door bar, which would have not been good. But instead, door bar did the job. Just left this nice big indent. You can even see the bottom of his door bar. And his bash bar was all bent to hell. Like I said fuck it, kept driving. Drift Sessions came by and gave me some stickers, so I stuck one on just for like shits and giggles. I got a really cool picture of me just sitting there with my hand out the window. saying, fuck it, we're gonna keep driving. And then here's also the rear corner of the bumper. You can see where the little metal thing punched through. Of course, Pedro's blew from his Miata. He actually already fixed it. That was last weekend and they fixed it today. Ripped it, snapped it off. So, it is what it is. Both of those are, I'll probably hang that up as a wall ornament. I don't know what I'll do with the door. Might get rid of the door. We'll see. Make it into some wall art. Maybe take the outer skin off, make it into some wall art. That wasn't the only damage the car sustained. Couple things under here. If you notice, my front splitter got ripped off along with both my side skirts and my thing, which isn't uncommon in drifting. They're all sitting out there outside on my trailer. At one point in the day while I was driving, it was me, my buddy Merrick, me, Jose in the white Miata, and Drewski Drift. Of course, this was fun. I just kind of finally got back into the groove. And this is kind of one of those things where things kept just happening. Finally gotten back into the groove. Merrick throws it in, I throw it in behind him. We're both kind of dragging the wall. Jose was chasing me, and he had a problem on initiation where he gripped up. So instead of being sideways this way, he was coming in at this angle. And of course, I was on the last outer third of the wall, sideways. I kind of glance over, and all I see is Miata headlight coming out my door. So I'm freaking out. I'm flooring it now, trying to get away. That's when he ended up hitting me here and hitting my wheel, not this wheel, different one. There's white paint on it. I'll see if I can find it. But yeah, he hit me there, and of course he spins out. And of course Drewski Drift was coming on the pad in his Corvette in 4th gear at Mach Jesus, and he spun out, so he had to throw it wide and all the angle he had to get around him. And of course, I'm on adrenaline now. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. I'm getting by the Manji, and I hear Andrew pulls all the way right back up on me, which is awesome, except for I get my feet crossed up, trying to throw it back wide, because I was still trying to figure out the last big sweeper, the big left-handed sweeper, back into the big right-handed sweeper. Cross that, off the Manji, into the right-handed sweeper. I messed up where I had always been messing up, trying to get better. And yeah, I crossed my feet up. I went to clutch kick to try and get the car more sideways so I wouldn't get run over. And instead, I accidentally crossed my feet up and hit the brake pedal, which locked the fronts up momentarily, which got me going straight. And of course, with Andrew coming down, because he got around Jose somehow and kept hauling ass, and he has like 80-mile-an-hour wheel speed on the skid pad, which is insane. So he's fast as hell. That's why he's almost won. That's part of the reason why he's almost won King OSW twice now. He just hasn't had tire grip. But yeah, so I crossed up, and instead of trying to stop or get back in the drift right in front of him, I just said, screw it, I don't want my door getting punched in again. One of those, I was back in my head worrying about the car, and or me getting injured in the car. So I basically took off Mach Jesus into the dirt, which was not great. When it hit the dirt, because there's a dip there, it actually pushed, maxed out my suspension and bent the fender, because I cut it to try and make it clearer, and I hadn't had an issue whatsoever. And then I hit it, and it bent the actual fender up, so I'm gonna have to come back out and kind of cut this. And it did it on both sides. Not only did it do that, it messed up my actual bumper there. If you come under here, it's kind of hard to see, but there is these two steering rack bushings that are normally straight up and down, and they're pretty straight up and down. So I fixed them at the track in a rush, but it actually knocked them sideways, and it basically offset my steering rack to the right instead of straight up and down because of how hard I hit. So now the car is not steering straight, which was not fun. And yeah, it was interesting. And of course, I caught some cable in the dirt, part of something, is big long steel cable with a box at the end, and it's part of someone's steering assembly, and I dragged it back to the pits. That was fun. That's when I lost my side skirt, and it sat there at the corner of the track, right where you drop a tire off all night, and actually didn't get destroyed, so I'll take that. But yeah, that's the state the Mustang is in. It's got a coolant leak now. There's a cheap drain valve on this Mustang, the plastic one right there. right there, dead center of the screen, right there, and it's leaking now for some ungodforsaken reason, probably due to the fact that I took it out to drain some water out to put some water wetter in at Spring Break Bash, but is what it is. But now I got an event next weekend, and I want to fix the drain, do an oil change, adjust the clutch some more because the clutch is starting to get worn out. Fix a couple little things. I'll probably just leave the lip and the side skirts off for the minute being. It's just too big of a hassle to try and throw them back on. This is gonna stay like this for a little while until Buddy gets back to me. I want to take this hazard off right here. That's about it. And then I've also got to go on the car nitrous. I've got a full 50 shot Hawkway photo. Where is it? Got an NX Express controller, 50 shot jets, bottle, purge valve, NX Protons, 2 actually the kit. This is like a hodgepodge kit. You know, sold to one person and sold to another, and each person added a couple parts. So it came with Coyote plates, it came with Shark, 2 Shark nozzles, extra cables, extra fuel pressure rail stuff. I also went ahead and picked up VMP fuel pump booster, and I'm probably gonna chop up this Coyote harness, not Coyote, the S550 or S197 nitrous harness. I also got a battery box because I want to relocate the battery to the back, but this stuff I'm not gonna be doing in this video. That's gonna be for another time. For now, it's just gonna be general maintenance. So